Hi everyone, it's Georgia down in Australia, and today I am going to be creating a Bible journaling page as the main Bible journaling project from my September 2022 challenge, which is called Pick a Psalm. Over the space of 15 days, I am presenting in this challenge 15 different creative activities based around the one psalm that you may have chosen. Now you can find this challenge on my Patreon page. I will put the link down below in the description for you if you'd like to join the challenge. It doesn't matter if you're finding out about it a little bit late. It really does not have to run to date. You can pick it up anytime you like and just do one challenge prompt every day over the space of 15 days. So 15 creative activity prompts, and today is day 3, and the prompt for today is to create a Bible journaling art page. So my chosen psalm is Psalm 131, and I really would have loved to do it in my latest journaling Bible, which is a much bigger format, lots of space, but unfortunately that page is already painted. So I have gone back to my what I call the little golden book Bibles. This is my original journaling Bible, which was coming apart, and so I rebound it in 3 lots as little golden books, and so much of it has already been journaled, but 131, thank goodness, was free, so I have this Bible to work on. And as always, I'm making this up as I go along. Now my first issue already, I've got issues already, apart from the page not opening very well. It's very lumpy under here, and oh, here we go, that's why. A couple of pages in, I have this page where we made a big shaker pocket in one of my past retreats, and so that's creating a lot of lumpy surface problems, but thankfully it's only stuck at the top of the page, so I can open it up and oh, that's much better, nice and smooth. Okay, so my plan is to create a page that is kind of calm. Psalm 131 is a quiet song of trust, and so I am planning to use some calming colors and do something kind of pretty and calm. We'll see how we go. I do want to protect the psalm, so I'm grabbing my Sizzix Makers tape, which is my latest, I think you all know, absolute favorite thing to use as a Bible journaling masking tape, because it masks really well. I can paint over the top of it or do whatever it is that I'm doing. It sticks nicely to the page, but it does not actually stick. So unlike washi tape, which sometimes will tear the page when you take it off or take some of the writing off, this has got such a light stick that it comes off easy without actually taking off the surface of the page. So I'm covering my psalm, and it's such a short psalm, so 2 strips of that and it's covered. So this is going to be quite perhaps a busy or a colourful page with only this small white piece here. I also want to be doing some texture paste stenciling. Now I think what I'm going to do is actually paint my page first and then do the stenciling over the top of my paint. So I'll just get the paint that I want. I'm thinking maybe a turquoisey kind of colour and maybe a lime green. I think they might be my go-to colours right now. So I grab my makeshift palette and pour out a bit of turquoise. Oops, oh, that's what happens when you don't look at what you're doing. All right, it's everywhere, but that's okay. And a bit of this lime green. Probably won't need too much of that. And then again, I'm just going for a simple look with this page, so I'm just brushing some, oh, I might actually, sorry, I might actually stick a piece of paper under here just to protect the rest of the book. Okay, so I'm just doing some broad rough strokes not necessarily covering the whole page. I put out way too much paint, I can see. And I do want to go overlapping onto that tape so that I've got a bit of a colour sort of bordery thing going on. It's not so obvious that I had it taped. A bit up the side there. And then clean my brush. I know I don't often do this. I usually just blend all my colours together and let everything mix, but today I want a clean brush. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of the lime green just here and there to brighten it up. Mostly in the areas that I've left blank. I do a little bit of blending into my turquoise. It's a very, very simple background here. I'm not going for anything fancy. And if you're doing this challenge and you are painting your Bible pages in a prayerful mood, as we should be for all our Bible journaling, my small opinion. It's very hard to when you're making YouTube videos, I know, which has always been my problem. But when you're doing this for yourself and you're doing this in a prayerful mode, then this is a perfect sort of background to be painting. Okay, so that's kind of got me happy. It's as complicated as I need it to be. I'm going to dry that. Okay, that's dry. Now you may have noticed I had put way too much paint on my palette. Now I never waste anything. So what I did with the leftovers was just grab a piece of plain white card and painted a similar sort of background onto the card, which I'll put aside for now because we are doing 15 days of creative activities based on the same psalm. So I might at some point pull this out for one of the other activities and do something that kind of coordinates with the page that I've painted. So never waste your leftovers, even if you just paint them onto a page very roughly, a piece of paper, a piece of cardboard. Put it aside till later. You never know when you need it. They're great as backgrounds for cards, as patterned or coloured card to put through your die cutting machine and cut shapes with. All sorts of things you can do with them. So don't waste stuff. All right, now I am going to do a little bit of stenciling. Keep my piece of scrap stuff underneath, and I think what I would like to do is colour some of my texture paste. Okay, I might actually use this colour here. Let's see how that goes. So I'm just grabbing some texture paste. Now this is just a, it's called a moulding paste, this one. It's just something that I grabbed out of desperation when I was after something. And this is the only thing I could find at the shop because I did not have any of my own. I'm just going to grab a bit, and it's kind of dried out a little bit because it's quite old now. But putting a bit of paint with it is going to lighten it up a little bit, I think. I'm just grabbing a little bit of this distressed paint. This is Wild Honey. And I'll mix that in. I don't want it too dark. Now, of course, you don't have to colour your texture paste. You might want to keep it just white. You might not want to do this textured. You might want to just use paint or ink with a sponge and just do some plain stenciling. There's never any obligation to do it the way I'm doing it. Sometimes I do things that are a little bit crazy. I just thought for a bit of interest, a bit of fun, I would do something with some texture. And also the fact that I have not been Bible journaling in such a long time. Somebody out there really needs to start paying attention to me. Did that sound needy? Someone out there needs to pay attention to when I stop Bible journaling for long periods of time and go, hey Georgia, go and Bible this verse, will you? Because I kind of get into a really bad space when I'm not Bible journaling, and you don't realize you're there until you actually pick up your Bible again and you go, oh my goodness, I've missed this so much, and why haven't I been doing this? So I did a page last week, and boy, it kind of went over the top because it's been so long and I wanted to do everything on it. So I think we're still in that over the top mode. Okay, now it's going to be a little bit tricky because of this very deep fall towards the center of the book there, but I'll do what I can, and I'm not going for anything that even resembles perfection here, never do. And I'm not going to stencil all over the page, I'm just doing little bits and pieces here and there. I think that's the plan so far, and I don't know if I actually like the color that this is coming out. Ouch, but that's too late now. Once it's on the page, it's too late, right? Let's see what that looks like. Oh, it's not too bad. Made a bit of a mess there, but it's really hard down in this section. Not making excuses, it's just the way it is. I might do a little bit here. A bit of flowery. Now this is, I know it's a Christmas stencil. It's poinsettias and holly and ivy. So holly or ivy? Ivy. But that's okay if you don't look too closely. It just looks like a floral background. A little bit there. A bit down here. And I'm moving that background, that backing sheet. Make sure that I don't actually stick the page to the sheet. I'm going to try very carefully to get a flower here near the edge of the spine area of the page. I know I made a mess at the top. I'll probably make a mess down here as well. But that's okay. Like I said, never go for perfection. Only God is perfect. We just fumble along and do what we can. All right, lift that carefully. Oh, and look, I've put it on top of the stenciling there. Oops. Oh, well, that's just given it some more texture. I'll pretend I meant that to be. Whenever things go wrong, just say, yeah, that's what I meant to do. Nobody will ever know. Okay, so I need to let this dry. Now, if this was going to be the main strong color on my page, I would leave my stenciling as is. I'm quite happy with it like that. But I am going to add some more color to it, so I don't want it to be quite as strong as what it's turned out. So I'm going to do a little bit of sort of whitewashing. And I might just do this with my finger. I'm just getting a little bit of white gesso on my finger and not covering the whole thing, but just rubbing a little bit of white gesso over some of the petals. Not even being exact about keeping it only on the flower. I'm letting some of it go onto the background part of the page as well. And some parts I'm actually making whiter or more opaque than others. Letting some of that color shine through, but not all of it. It's just a little bit too kind of bold for my liking, for this particular page anyway. Now, you don't have to do this. You might be quite happy with the color that you've chosen. I just know that because I'm going to put some darker colors around the page, this will be just a little bit too intrusive. So there you go, not too much, but just to lighten it down, just to tone it down a little bit. Of course, if I had not colored it quite so darkly, I would not have this issue. But even if I had kept it lighter, I think I still would have done this just for a bit of extra interest and texture on my page. Now, I'm going to cover the facing page because it's time to do a bit of spattering. It's no fun unless you spatter. And I might now use that other colour I was looking at. Grab my little funny palette. And lots of water. The wetter you make it, the more spattery it will be, but then the more translucent it will be as well. So you need to get that middle ground where you're happy with the amount of spattering, but also how dark the spatter comes out. And I'm just going to do some spattering around the flowers here. Now, how much or how little you do, as always, is up to you. Okay. Right, now that it's all mostly dry, I want to add a little bit of strong, bold colour around my page, but not too much. I have grabbed my Aged Mahogany Distress ink, and this is a stamp called Botanical Horticulture. I can't remember what collection it's from, but it is from Ciao Bella. Here is the brand for anyone wanting to have a look. And this particular stamp is a bit of a collage of botanical elements, and I'm just going to use little bits and pieces of it to create a border around my page. Again, it's going to be really tricky as I get down here, but we'll see how we go. I'm keeping this paper here because this is really where I want to protect all the edges of my pages there. And I'm not even using a stamping block because I want to be able to maneuver it. So I'm just very lightly and roughly putting random bits of the stamp around the edges of my page. Most of the time you can't even tell what it is that I'm stamping. I might actually have a look at another stamp. I think that's a little bit more flowery. Yeah, might use this one actually. This one is Botanical and Postmarks. So here we go. We have something very flowery up there. So again, not going for a particular look or something that looks like a particular image. I just want to have something kind of shabby and messy around the edges of my page, just to give it a border, something a bit different from my usual scribble borders that I like to do. It's kind of a stamping version of scribbling a border. Now this will be the tricky bit. Getting down into that spine area, we'll see how we go. Move that. I'm using all sorts of stamps today, pulling them all out. A bit of a mess along the edge there, but that's okay. I'm really mistreating my stamps today. Okay, I kind of like this little section here with the flowers. So I'm going to, I think, yeah, ink up just that little bit. Not going to be anywhere close to perfect, but that's all right. Just pop that here. See how that goes. Oops, not a very flat surface that I'm working on, but that's all right. And I have another stamp here. This is my Craft Consortium Wild Flowers. And this is originally what I wanted to use. So I might ink this one up. And now I don't know where I want it. Here. Not stamping very well because of the dimensional stenciling here, but it's all right, it's all right. Okay, so I've got my little garden happening here. A little bit more there, and then I'll be happy, I think. I don't want too much, but I just wanted some sort of something happening down the bottom. Now I gave that a bit of a blast with my heat tool. It's almost dry, but while it finishes off, or while it finishes drying, I will just slightly put it aside. I've grabbed some tea-dyed paper and I want to write a few words. Now this is not absolutely necessary, but very often when we are Bible journaling, we like to write out a focus verse, a focus line, a focus word somewhere on our page. Now I am going to write the line, "I have calmed and quieted my soul," and I wanted to do it as separate pieces of tea-dyed paper. So I'm going to just grab my marker, and I might use my black micron. And I'm still sort of figuring this out. I haven't really thought this through. And I'm going to cut them today. Normally I tear these things when I do them, but today I think I might actually be neat. Sort of neat. I don't do neat very well, unfortunately. And using that same aged mahogany ink, I'm just going to ink around the edges of those little quote pieces. There we go. So now, pulling my page back, I'll actually take the tape off that has been protecting my verse. And now I can decide where I want this. Say, I have calmed and quieted my soul. I actually like it like that. I won't move it. I think that has to be a first. Usually I have to move things around 100 times before I'm happy. But sometimes it's where it lands is the best place, and you just need to keep it there. I've managed to clog up my glue. That's all right, we'll fix that. All right, here we go. And quieted. And as I make this video, this is actually the final day of my Desert Take 2 journey, so it's kind of an appropriate quote for me to be writing out and highlighting in my Bible, because it's kind of what I've been working at doing for the past 40 days. That's a whole other story, right? All right. Now, I just had a thought. I wonder, I have my old distress markers that I never ever use. And so because I hardly ever use them, oh, aged mahogany, so many of them have dried out. So I'm wondering if by chance the aged mahogany is still okay. So let's find out. Oh no. Sort of wondering. Well, no going back now, is there? It's a little bit too thick for my liking, but yep, that's dried out. Well, again, once you've started something, it's on the page, can't go back. So there we go, highlighting the psalm. All right, so I'm not going to write Psalm 131 anywhere because I can see 131 and it's kind of obviously the Psalms that I'm in, so I don't need to be writing that as a reference. Now, I very likely will add a bit of secret journaling to this page, but as always, you all know I never share the secret journaling on social media, so it will be written somewhere on the page, maybe here. I'm not quite sure at this point, but somewhere on the page I'll add a little bit of secret journaling. I can actually put the date now. So I will actually write up here, pick a psalm challenge, September 2022. And I know that's kind of made it a little bit messy, but that's okay. Yeah, waiting for a little bit of secret journaling. Otherwise, my page is done. So that is it. Now, if you are joining in this challenge, currently, if you would like to share your page, please come over to my Facebook group, God's Refrigerator. I have an album there for page and project sharing from this Pick a Psalm challenge. Sometime in the future, I may go to another platform where you can all share your projects, but for now, this is where we are. Or you can drop your page directly onto my Georgia iDreams Facebook profile. I will put the link of that down below. Or you can tag me on Instagram. Again, link will be down below in the description. Otherwise, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for joining me. And we'd love to see any pages that you create. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.